meeting to order. Ms. Slopes, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Ms. Cordova?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Lopez? It's absent. Mr. Merrick?
Here.
Ms. Parker?
Here.
Mr. Rackler?
Here.
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. Self?
Here.
And Mayor Miller.
Here.
Okay,
Okay,
we have
everyone,
quorum.
please rise. Councilman Self will lead us in the invocation, and Councilman Robinson will lead us in the prayer.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we're just thankful we could be here tonight. Please be at the forefront of all of our decisions, make wise decisions. And to the best of our ability, and always be at the forefront of those decisions. Thankful for the recent moisture. Please send more our way. We're just thankful and grateful for all we can get, and most of all, thankful for your son dying on the cross for us. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the seated symbol of our great nations among united continents.
Thank you. All right, our next item, which we've had a little conversation about, and we'll continue to have a conversation about, is public comment. I want to read what's on the agenda. Please note, until the end of the current election season, public comments have been pulled from the participation during council meetings. Public comments will return after the November 4th, 2025 regular election. This ensures fair and equitable treatment of all candidates and public members, as well as allowing for the continuity of the council agenda and its presentation. Ms. Rudd, you were going to make some comments.
Mayor. I wanted the opportunity to address council and then also the public. I know that the city hall has gotten a lot of pushback today regarding the public comment section. And I would just like to briefly address how this came to be. So first off, I'm the city's attorney. I make no decisions. I just advise legally, right? I don't have the authority. I don't have the power to make the decisions, these type of decisions. However, I do advise on them and advise what is legal for the city, or what could potentially get the city into trouble, what would be the best route for us to go. I was approached about the potential of removing the public comment section from council meetings just during the time of election, because the city felt like we were creating a platform, we were creating an equity unfairness for certain individuals to get up here and campaign while other individuals could not. And so the question became, what would be the best way to protect the city? Because that is my job as city attorney. So the conversation was, there is the potential to limit the speech, right? So we have public speakers who will come up here, they'll get to speak on whatever matter it is they would like to speak on, and then it goes to the next speaker. My issue with that is, how do I differentiate from Mr. Self coming up here and speaking and Ms. Cordova coming up here and speaking when they're both speaking about things that might be relevant to their campaign, but who am I? Then I become the discretionary of campaign speech versus protected First Amendment speech versus other things. And so in order to protect the city from that, from me being the decider of what exactly is campaign speech and what is not, the option began, what about content neutral? Because that's what the Constitution, right? The case law behind your First Amendment speech is about, is if we are, the government, going to limit speech, it needs to be in a content neutral way. And so this would be the way that we would be able to do that, is to completely remove the public comment instead of us, the city, deciding, did Mr. Rustin campaign, or was that genuine concerns? Did Ms. Cordova campaign, or were those genuine concerns? And then what about it comes time for members who are already on council? Do they then get the opportunity to come up here and campaign? Do they get to campaign from their seat on council during their public comment time? Those are the questions that we were dealt with. So I legally gave an opinion on it, and my legal opinion is this: New Mexico Open Meetings Act does not require public comment. There's been a lot of conversation about, well, we've been allowing it, and now that we're taking it away, we've basically kind of by prescription created this public comment right. That's not case law. That's not the law. While we may feel that way, and I agree with you that that could potentially be the theme and the feeling of we've allowed it, so we should always allow it, that is not actually the binding obligation on the city. I think that at this time, this has been the decision that was made based on a legal opinion. But I think that from council's perspective, and I think from City Hall's perspective, it needs to be revisited. I think that the public opinion on this has definitely played a part into that, and it's something that is of concern for you guys and also of concern for me, because despite the public comments out there, I have no intention to limit anybody's First Amendment speech. In fact, I was told that somebody had created a really great shirt with my name on it, and they're planning to wear it today. And I said, wear it. Right? Because that is your First Amendment right to free speech. And I am in no business, nor is the city, of limiting that. And so I will leave it at council's discretion. I would like to bring this back before council to have a full vote on it. But we are stuck with it for tonight, because I think it would be do more harm, do more damage for us to go against what the meeting agenda says and allow public comment than to continue with what the agenda says, because we are bound by that. We did post that 72 hours before, than to change that last minute and limit someone else's ability to come in tonight. So the topic will be back up. Can continue to voice your concerns, continue to express them, reach out to us. But just know council will have the final authority on this, hopefully potentially next meeting. Any questions?
I think what we probably need to do is, I would like to have several of the council members that are not part of this year's election sit down with you between now and our next meeting and come together with a solution we will have at the next meeting. Okay? And I'm thinking about
Mr.
you, Mr. Rackler.
Was there any resolution,
Or the-
resolution of decision?
Mr. Merrick and Mr. Seth. To meet with her, come back. I mean, you guys are here for 2 more years, the Lord willing, and come back with whatever recommendation at the next meeting is in this. And solve this.
Yeah, because my concern is it happened without our consultation. This happened. We weren't asked, we were told. It just, you get an agenda and it's on. I don't know how that.
It will be on the next agenda, so whatever you guys propose, we do for the remainder of these 3 meetings before the election.
I hope anybody who had something they want to talk about tonight can still
Well,
hang on
at
to
least
it.
today.
We still have that mechanism. So that's also, I'm glad you mentioned that, because whenever we posted this about the fact that we were going to be taking away the public comment, we did provide another means for constituents to still send their questions. So they are still able to email or send them directly, and we are planning to have Mr. Minton answer them. So if there are questions, we're not trying to limit your ability to be involved in city affairs during this time. We were just asking if they would go through that email or through that channel, so then we could address them. And we didn't have the issue of picking and choosing between what is and isn't campaign speech. So you still have that out there. You can still send in your questions. And I don't believe we had any for today. There were no public comment questions sent to be addressed today.
And I did speak to Ms. Rudd and Mr. Minton at length this afternoon.
As did I.
As one recommendation that I did suggest is that next time, whenever we do have public comment for one, and this is, of course, you know, everybody's decision, but at that meeting, have the public comment for that one meeting, move back to the bottom. Like we did previous, because that way, if we take action on it at the time of the meeting, the public will still have option to speak at public comment. So that is one thing that I will discuss with the committee. But I just did want to put that on record so that we don't forget, and then move it back up, because, you know, the reason for us moving it up was because if somebody had something to discuss or voice their concern about prior to us going through the agenda, we had their information that they did bring forth, so that we are recognizing their voice within the agenda.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Short. Thanks for that explanation. As a reminder, as we talked about the next meeting, if you recall, was rescheduled for the 23rd of September rather than the 16th, so make a note of that. As many of these members will be at the annual New Mexico Municipal League Conference on the 16th, so. All right, next item on the agenda is minutes of the regular meeting held August 19th.
Can you repeat what you just said? I'm sorry, the next meeting is.
September 23rd.
September 21st.
His next, 16th is right at the beginning of.
Well, summer though. Thank you.
Move for approval of minutes August 19th.
Sure.
Motion by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Robinson. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion
Saying I was not present.
Okay, we have one abstention, Mr. Rackler. Next, there's some presentation items. The first is the City of Portales and the Portales Public Library recognizes reader Grace Joseph for reading the most minutes during the 2025 summer reading program. Ms. Porter.
Thank you, ma'am. First one, these little recognition pieces. So, Ms. Grace, would you like to come up here? So I'd like to introduce everybody to come up here. I'd like to introduce everybody to Grace Joseph. Miss Grace. Pull it back up. All these minutes that she read. Okay, Miss Grace read a total of 530 minutes, which is 84 hours and 50 minutes. Wow. So if you take that into consideration, that's over 54 days that Grace logged reading time, and she averaged 93 plus minutes of reading per day. So with greatest recognition, the City of Portales honors Grace Joseph for reading the most minutes during the 2025 summer reading program. Ms. Luscombe is going to read a little bit about Miss Grace.
We get to brag on you for just a minute. So a few weeks ago, I gave a recap of our summer reading numbers, and those were of a patron who read the most minutes over the summer, and that top reader is Grace Joseph. Grace is the daughter of John and Dolly Joseph and is in the 4th grade. Grace and her family were in the library almost daily. Grace would walk in the library reading, and she would leave the library reading. Between trying to help her find new series to read that she hadn't already read, checking out her books or seeing her at programs, staff had many opportunities to interact with Grace, and we've come to know her as not only an exceptional reader, but someone who is extremely kind, sharp as a tack, and has a smile that would light up any room. And that I won't go back over what Ms. Cordova said, but she's been a fantastic patron to have at our library this summer, and we're super proud of you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Not sure I read that much in my life.
Oh, we did this.
Yeah.
It's-
Okay, do the next presentation. It's quite an honor to do this. See, Kathy? There's one thing that kind of bothers me about the presentation. And you already know probably what I'm referring to. But we'd like to recognize Timothy Cathy in recognition of 20 years of faithful service, outstanding performance, and commitment to excellence for the city of Chalmers Fire Department. He was hired on September 6, 2005. Doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it seemed 20 years ago. That's quite an accomplishment. We're certainly glad you stuck with us. We're doing a great job. Hopefully you'll be around another 5 years.
May I say a few thank yous?
You certainly may.
So first and foremost, God deserves all the glory because I wouldn't be here without him. Secondly, I'd like to thank my family. My wife Courtney, our boys, Aiden and Jace, along with my parents and my aunt Julie, for all your love and support. I'd like to thank all city staff. It's an honor to serve our great community again. For all the past PFE personnel, thank you for building a solid foundation so that we can stand on today. To our current personnel, I'm committed to advocating for your need, for what you need to provide services to our community. To council, I look forward to many more years of working together to meet those needs. And to our community, don't forget about your fire department. Public safety must come first. While potholes and dumpsters are important, they can wait. A fire or a medical emergency, they can. But thank you.
I appreciate you recognizing your family because in this line of work, I don't know that people recognize that the family really does make a sacrifice as you're building your career, spending the days on, the days off, and missing out on a lot of family activities while you're doing your shift work, things like that. So, and that was part of your 20 years. So thank you again to your family for letting us have you for 20 years. So now that you have a couple of presentations today.
I hate being recognized, so I got lucky and we get to do this today. So first of all, I'd like to mention Lieutenant James Bray that got his paramedic license and then he got his coin while I was out for my back surgery. So he was not recognized in front of you, so I wanted to make mention of him today. But today I'd like to especially mention Martin Ortiz and Ethan Tapia. Firefighter Martin Ortiz earned his PFT challenge coin, and of course, to do that, he has to be employed with us a year, get his EMT basic, his EMT intermediate, and his firefighter 1 and 2. All of that, in addition to new hire training and annual ISO training, is just over 1,500 hours of training that he has completed in about a year and 3 months. So we definitely want to recognize his accomplishments, and we thank him for all that he's doing. Firefighter Ethan Tapia, I kind of gave y'all a heads up last meeting that he had passed, but he completed his paramedic program through Clovis Community College, passed his national registry test on the first attempt. And that course is 1,600 hours of class time clinicals and his paramedic internship, which is a very big accomplishment. So.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you for your service. Next is the consent agenda is approved by single motion. Any member of the council may request an item to be transferred to the regular agenda from the consent agenda without discussion or vote. Before I read all of these, does anyone have any that they would like to be pulled off before we act on any of the others?
I would actually like to pull them all off. So go over, just so we know what it is in each one of them. Does not meet the code.
Okay, then that's what we'll do. So Ms. McClellan, you might be prepared. For all of us.
Yes.
So with that being said, we have several items for you tonight. The first one we'll deal with is governing body approval of resolution number PC 2025-2026-05, variance at 614 West 15th Street for the purpose of carport. It does not meet municipal code, submitted by Joseph Garcia.
Thank you all.
Turned around by this. Figure it out. All right, thank you, Mayor, Council. Ms. Chris, we go past, I think it starts on page probably 4.
This one?
That one.
No.
Yep, page 4. All right. So thank you, Mayor, Council. This one will look semi-familiar. This came back a couple council meetings ago, where Mr. Garcia was requesting a variance for both the setback and the size. It was approved at planning and zoning and then denied here at council. It can, if a member of planning and zoning requests to see it again, they can go back to planning and zoning, start the process over. So Mr. Garcia fixed the setback, so it now meets the setback, but it's still just a little bit larger than it should be for the front yard, which is 500 square feet. This ends up being 600 square feet. So he's bringing it before you today to see if he can get that variance for those extra 100 feet, 100 square feet in front yard. Mr. Garcia here today. I don't believe I see him, so I will do my best to answer any questions instead.
Questions for Ms. McClellan?
Mine's not specific to this one, but it's gonna come up several times, so I might as well hit it right off the bat. We're getting carports every week, and now we got 3 or 4 on tonight's meeting. We need to address the ordinance and decide what we want to do with carports and what we don't, rather than keep having this battle between planning and something else. We obviously aren't on the same page on whether we're gonna follow the ordinance or not follow the ordinance. So I think if we're gonna start allowing all these carports, we need to change the ordinance and not keep doing variances.
Definitely, we can put it up for another sub-focus committee, special standing group. We did redo the ordinance maybe about 2 years ago to make it much more lenient. But as you can see, there's still a hot commodity when it comes to variances. So if you guys would like, we can put a standing committee together as often as you are.
If I may, planning and zoning feels your same sentiment. Sitting in the P and Z meeting, their outcome of last meeting was the same thing, almost to a person. It was all we talk about is carports, and I'm quoting, paraphrasing, I'm having a headache with carports, et cetera, et cetera. So I think you're on point, and I think that Ms. McClellan, P and Z's involvement and coming to some kind of point or solution on this and finding a way forward, but they express your same frustration.
Stick my foot in my mouth again, but I'll volunteer. I want it fixed. I want it where we don't have to address these. And we'll also volunteer for that.
Perfect. We'll put out a couple feelers for some planning and zoning members. If any other council members would like to, we can always have more than 2 on a committee as well. For this, you guys have any questions on this application?
So it's just 100 square feet we're talking about, correct?
Correct. 500 square feet is allowable. This one is 600 square feet.
So this is the one that we have that actually was like 6 foot from the street.
Correct. Yeah.
And then they corrected that.
Yeah, so he cut it back, but he didn't feel like he could make it any smaller and still fit all the vehicles that he needed in there, but he did.
I drove by there today, the back of his pickup still sticks out. I hate there, so. I felt sorry for him. Especially. As Mr. Reckler said, I think we've got to kind of realign our thinking on this and then just be consistent with it. We've approved some and then we've denied some, and we just got to be consistent. But on this one, I really didn't have any issues with it, and I think we need to go ahead and approve that variance. So I would make that motion. Unless someone else has got some arguments on it.
We'll get a motion on the floor and get a second, then we can do some more discussion.
Second.
Rackler. Yeah. So motion by Mr. Merrick, second by Mr. Rackler. Go ahead and approve this variance for Mr. Garcia. Is there any further discussion or questions on this? Okay, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries. The next one, Ms. McClellan, is governing bodies approval of resolution number PC 2025-2026-6, variance at 1708 South Globe Street for the purpose of maintaining a carport that does not meet municipal code, submitted by Leroy Howard.
Perfect. So, as you said, this one's at 1708 South Globe. We're gonna have 2 that are next door neighbors, this one and the one a little further along. So this went through the same process as all the others. This did get published. There was 1 person against it. 2 people for it, and then public utilities, 1 proposal, 0 against. I'll go over why people were against it, just because it was included in the letter, but they did not show up to planning and zoning to protest in person. They said the presence of a carport may reduce visibility for residents exiting the property, which may increase auto accidents. The addition of a carport affects the appearance of the neighborhood and may affect property values that lead to vacancies. The owner may want to consider using the alleyway to access their backyard and part of the backyard. And then this was approved unanimously at planning and zoning. Excellent, Chris. So this one is a side setback issue. It meets everything else. As you can see, their driveway is pushed off to the side and they have an eave on their house she can't see very well. So they were shared planning and zoning that they were unable to move it over. They were no protests, including the lady who lives right next to them, which they're intruding upon. They were actually okay with it because they felt the direction of the carport would water the plants that she has on the other side of the yard. Do we have someone here to defend this one? We do have someone here if you have any questions for them.
And this is 1708 South Bluff, correct?
Correct. If you want to go one more, you can see what it looks like.
So this is because of the side setbacks and.
Correct. Usually it's 3 feet, and this one is 1.5 feet.
How many feet are between houses? So those are stacked in there for
So yeah, theoretically, they're supposed to be 6 feet off for each side yard. So theoretically, 12 feet without measuring teeth.
But the stanchions on the side, the support are not over on the other person's property, it's just.
Correct.
Some of the runoffs.
Mr. Racker, you're not wrong. Runoff is an issue. But I believe the ordinance says that the owner or the person putting up and owning the carport is supposed to have drainage control on it, i.e. gutters, to keep the drainage from spilling directly off and direct it in a constructive rather than destructive manner.
That may have been added this last week.
It is the last one. It's been 3 to 5 feet.
Fast.
Yes.
Further questions?
And what you get into is, people that are living there now may not protest it, but if the property sells. And if the person moves into the next door neighbor's house. They may have an issue with it, and. Then we prove something that becomes an issue to that person, so.
Correct. There was one, I believe there was one against this, and that was, yes, one against, and that was Mr. Watkins. That was pretty much verbatim what his concern had been.
Pleasure of council on this one.
Would you entertain a motion to table this until we get the ordinance taken care of?
Could be a while.
I'm sorry,
Said that could be a while.
I just don't know if it's really a good idea for us to make that many carport
I'm kind of in agreement. with
variances
that.
until we have something in place.
We get a chance and we can jump on later this week if we need to go out there. Get it done.
I mean, it's a proper motion.
I do ask that you'll let us know what to do about the current
The
carports
ones
that have
that-
been built without permits. Just, are we in a holding, just so we know how to
I would
enforce
say
our
we're
stuff?
gonna hold-
I would say if he does a motion and we vote to table it, that they're all enough, we hold them at the time that is said for that.
Did you look to make a motion?
So is that?
What is it?
That's a form of a motion.
It just depends on how fast we will make the revisions, so we'll set the meeting this week. And just however long it takes for us getting the ordinance,
Get ready for the next meeting.
it'll go pretty fast, because now we have in-house counsel, that's able to review them much faster.
It'll be about a month at minimum.
Yeah,
We should have published it.
yep, and then we have to do the intent, wait about
That's
30
why it'd
days.
be about a month after. If you had it ready for the intent for the next meeting on the 23rd, it would be probably the second meeting in October.
Sounds about right. Which is completely, we're fine with that.
And we'll put all these on there.
So I have a question. So this carport is already up.
Yes.
So when you were talking about the gutter, is this something that was just added to?
So this went up without a permit, so they would come to us if we see the 3 to 5 feet, they have gutters on it. So if you give them the variance with the gutter, then they don't, but if there's no such thing, then we'll request they put a gutter up to finish their permit out.
Mr. Davis, did you make that motion?
Yes.
I have a motion to table and a second. We're gonna table items 2, 3, 4, and 5. Until such time as the ordinance comes back, and we're gonna try to have the ordinance back to us by the second meeting in October.
We vote on.
2, 3, and 4, okay. 2, 3, and 4. The items 2, 3, and 4 are, if the motion passes, are tabled until we revise the ordinance
With the hold.
with a hold on current construction.
Perfect.
Correct?
So,
Okay, motion table is not debatable. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, let's move down.
Was there a second?
Yes, second.
Sorry. Thank you.
Item 5 is governing body's approval of resolution number PC 2025-2026-09, variance at 805 North Avenue J for the purpose of operating a motorcycle mechanic shop submitted by Paul Hess.
Or all the way the other way. Other way? At the very end. Going. Oh, one more, and then you're good. That one. One more, two more over that way. Alright, perfect. That one. Okay. Alright, I have a non-car part one for you. So this is a variance request at 805 North Avenue J. For the purpose of operating a motorcycle mechanic shop, which would be small engine. Right now, it is not zoned correctly, it is a multi-family zone, which is R2. Go, let's Chris, the next one. Okay. So this it got published, 140 against in terms of property owners, 140 against in terms of utilities. This was unanimously approved at council, 5, 4, and 0 against. Let's Chris one more. So this is what the little accessory shed looks like where he'd be running the business out of. We did include the zoning map, as you can see right across the street is the C2, which is a general commercial, which would be the zone that they need to be in. So he is right across from that. So even if we did like a zone change, this would be spot zoning, this would be something that's considerable. We did check, there's no running water to this building, which makes that easier in how you pay utilities. And the applicant assured us that he would be bringing in all of the stuff that he's working on at night, because he doesn't want to leave a client's motorcycle or anything else that's stealable outside. But anybody here I do have some people here to argue this if you have any questions. That's pretty much it.
Any questions for Ms. McClellan?
I have one. You said there's no water there now.
Correct.
Do you intend to add water? Cause it seems like that would be a necessity. Okay, so are we okay with supplying water?
It would just be up to the water department on how they would do it, commercial water and residential on the same property. Because they're billed at two different rates.
Right, so it's probably a separate meter for that.
There's no like necessity for it, so it's not like mandated by
You don't think
the
they'll-
shop have it. And because of that, there's no reason for him to do it. He would do that if you guys made that a necessity, but right now there's no intent or need for him to pipe it commercial water. So. Yeah.
Isn't this just a garage for the residents that is right to the east of it?
Oh, correct. There's a residential structure where the gentleman lives and he does his own projects in there, but nothing commercially.
So as long as they get a business license, they're doing the same thing that anybody that makes advertising caps and T-shirts out of a shed in the back of their yard is doing, so it's not any different.
Correct. The only reason he has to do this is because we do a home-based business, but you're not allowed to have any evidence of it outside. And since he will have, some of his appliances parked outside during the day, he does have to go through a variance.
I don't see any problem with it. I'm gonna make the motion that we approve this.
Okay.
Motion by Mr. Merrick, second by Ms. Cordova. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, that motion carried. I think you're still here, right?
I am still here.
All right. We're gonna move to action items now. Number 1 is
Very
recommendation.
first set.
Recommendation from the governing body on how to proceed with dangerous property located at 820 East Elton.
Alright, so before I start this, we send out letters inviting people who own the property to come speak. It does say public input. This was before we knew the public input wouldn't be here today. There are people here today to possibly defend this. So if you have any questions for them, I just wanted to point out that we did break that the way we usually do it. So I'll start with this. So the pictures of the property are in your packet. We do not put them up here. We're not trying to embarrass anybody. We're not anything like that. So we leave it for you guys to see. So you do have the current pictures in your packet. So this property started its 90 days on May 20th. The notice of declaration, a copy of the resolution was sent out June 3rd. The 90-day abatement period ended on the 1st, which was yesterday. And while we've seen some improvement on the property, it still falls within what we'd consider a dangerous property. The property owner is reported to be deceased and is in care of another individual. And as I said, this still has not got completely clean.
So our recommendation is just to move forward in the legal process to abate the property. You have any questions for me or the people invested in the property, please let me know.
So Kelly, the vehicles are inside of that fence, correct?
Correct, yes.
What about the side view of that property where the vehicles sometimes stay on that?
So this is that weird one where there's two different properties put together. So the property on the other side is owned by a different individual, and those would be, I believe, his cars. And that one is still in the process going to. So this is a picture of this gentleman's property who was deceased.
And your recommendation is proceed with legal, correct?
That property, they used to have 17 vehicles.
Would you come forward and identify yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Rachel Sides. I'm Mark's wife. I really don't speak very much at these places, but for 5 years, we've been here at this place for both of those properties. That 820 property was in care to Miss Sadler, which she was our neighbor from across the street. She got real old, so then she told us, can you guys take care of my property? So we started taking care of that property, and we're now in process of getting in contact with anybody that was deceased from that property and doing a probate on that, because we've been taking care of it for already 5 years, paying the taxes. We put a fence around it. Of course, your property next to us where your daughter lives, that area doesn't have a little bit of fence, which is like 10 feet, because we put purling and pipe all the way around it with a steel fence. But there was over 17 cars in both of those properties, and we pulled them, every one of them out. There's only 3 cars in that one 820, and on 824, there's 7 still that we're pulling them all out. Never once have we not come to any of these meetings and hide from you guys. We've told you guys face to face that we've been working on them, and we've been working really, really hard on them. If you go by 824 East Elm, there was a lot of cars there. You go by it now, there's just our car there. That's it. So we've been working very hard and cooperating with everybody from the city. And we've apologized to all our neighbors for having it so messed up the way it was, but I don't think that we should go into any kind of legal, against us. We've been working very hard. We haven't hidden from her at all. We've come face to face with her, talking to her all the time. We've been complying and stuff.
Can I ask you 2 questions? Okay, number 1 is how long do you think it's finished the clean? How long do you think it took?
Well, the cleanup it's been already for.
It's been 5 years.
Yeah, it's been 5 years. First, they started on it 5 years ago. Then we cleaned half of them out because they ordered 3 properties cleaned out, because we had another property on Main Street that was full of cars, and it's all completely out. So for 5 years, we pulled out cars out of 3 properties, and these cars were there for a long, long time. So we cleaned that one all out. Then they stopped the process and then restarted the process again. But if you looked at the pictures of it, what it was in the beginning and now, there's so much improvement. It's beyond. It's just that they stopped the process and then started back up the process a couple of years later.
But if I could you answer the question? How much longer do you think?
I'd say give us another 90 days and it'll be all cleared out. And like I said, we're.
The second question is, could we repair that one side of the fence that have
Sure.
all, that's a mess, so it looks as good as the rest?
Okay, yeah, we'll put, I think it's like 10 feet of panel that doesn't have none, but yeah, we'll put that up there.
I have a question. Legally, you still don't own this property?
No, legally, we still don't own the property, but we've been paying the taxes for 10 years and we've been taking care of it for the lady that they inherited from Lucille Sadler, because she's already getting old, so she asked us if we could take care of it for her. And so we've been taking care of it, paying the taxes for her and stuff like that. And now we're in legal process was getting the person that was deceased, some kind of family member to sign off on the paperwork, and we're going through probate with that.
So Miss Sadler is not deceased?
No, she's not deceased, but she's gonna be our personal representative since she was the one that they gave the property to. So we have to take her in and we have to get it's just a big thing. We have to find somebody that was related to the Bennettts to sign on a piece of paper, which we already have that, but we just have to send the letters out to them.
Yes, sir.
I'd be remiss if I sit here and not give a character preference or progress report with the sciences. They have been totally working on this project as long as, 5 years, Mike, and they have done a great job of trying to improve the property. And I think that going legal on this family right now, on these people, would be out of bounds based on the fact that they have been trying, they have made all efforts to improve the property. And I think that we should supplant the idea of having them go, we're going to legal on that. Even though we may have the right to, I think we need to suspend that issue.
Thank you.
I would like to see us give them at least the 90 days or 120 days, just to give them a little leeway, give them 120 days.
Sure, welcome to make that motion.
Finish that up, so. I'm gonna make the motion that we postpone this legal for 120 days and see if they can finish the cleanup and get the rest of the vehicles.
Second.
That motion by Mr. Rackler, a second by Mr. Robinson. I believe the motion is to allow them an additional 120 days, get this property cleaned up. Is that correct? This is a motion. Okay. You have that, Ms. Swopes?
Yes.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Thank you so much.
I would like to make one comment just for the record. So this was started back when Antonio Salguero was still on council, so that has been more than 5 years ago. He did start the process back when he was on council, so I just wanted to make sure that that was on public record and just make sure that you have my abstained vote. Ms. Swope.
So the motion passes with 1 negative and 1 abstention. Okay,
We'll get that fence for you, Ms. Cordova fixed.
Thank you.
thank you. All right, Ms. McClellan. The next one is recommendation from governing body on how to proceed with dangerous property at 700 South Abilene.
Correct, same thing with this. This one was property was officially declared on May 20th. Your pictures are also in your packet. This is actually the house. Don't know where I'm oriented. There we go.
Yeah.
That's right over there. So same thing, notice of declaration, copy of resolution sent out on June 3rd. 90-day abatement ended yesterday. We could still consider this property dangerous at this time. The property owners reported to be deployed with the military, so we've been in contact with the owner's father. He's been receiving all the notifications of the dangerous property, but no work has been done to abate the property besides replacing the board when it gets kicked in. So we do recommend moving forward with legal process to abate this, which would be demolition of the main house and then the small garage in the back. And those pictures are in your packets. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Questions for Ms. McClellan?
Same thing with public input. Did anyone come to? I don't have anyone from this property here. But they did receive a letter saying that they could ask public input.
I'll make a motion to proceed.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rackler, second by Mr. Self to proceed. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to request maybe a legal opinion from Ms. Rudd. Being that he's military and he's deployed, do we have any ramifications on that?
I think that the important thing here is that the father has been served, right? And so part of our process with these dangerous properties is serving the notice of violation before we can move forward with it. And so because we would be able to prove that we did serve the father properly, he would be over the age of 18 if he's this gentleman's father, then I don't know that that would change the analysis much for us to be able to move forward with legal action.
Thank you.
Further questions? Motion on the table to proceed with legal abating the property. There's no further questions. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, Chief Kathy, you're back. Governing body's approval to accept the donation of 2 Seek Fire Pro 300 thermal imaging cameras and 2 Gear Keeper from Legacy Church.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you eloquently put, we have another donation from Legacy Church. I've lost count at the number of cameras. I tried to go back and look at all the agendas, and if my math is mathing, we're at about 16 cameras that they've donated over the last several years. And for those that have been in the fire service for quite some time, a thermal imager used to be a very expensive, high priced thing in the neighborhood of 25,000, correct me if I'm wrong. So the fact that we're almost at a point where we could have one on every person on scene, that's a huge safety increase for our personnel as well as performance while in a structure fire. It's a great tool and we're very thankful for their support. And I would ask that the donation, and Pastor Adler's here as well. So I'd like to thank him for his support and being here.
Any questions for Chief Kathy? Pleasure to council.
Thank you.
Second. Motion by Ms. Parker. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Abner, thank you.
Moving on, Water Department, governing body approval of resolution 2025-30 for 2026 Water Trust Board loan grant application for a wastewater treatment plant improvements. Who is taking that one?
Ms. Flores should be online.
Okay. Ms. Flores?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. How are we? Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak on these resolutions. So we do have the wastewater treatment plant resolution in regards to be able to attach it to the application in process. It's just to show us who's binding and who's going to be authorized for the application with the NMFA, as well as what the project is going to uphold, as well as the mayor or Mayor Pro Tem in the mayor's absence hereby to sign, and or I'm sorry, that's not or also the city manager in his absence, the utility superintendent will be authorized to sign for the primary contact for the application, and then the Public Works project administrator is designated for any additional contact.
Questions for Ms. Flores? Yes, sir.
So there's an application that it stated that they're wanting to put in a 300,000 gallon tank for the affluent water that's coming out of the treatment plant to go into to help remedy the fact that they're having algae buildup in the outdoor storage. And then it mentioned that they would be putting in a booster system to pump this water to parks. And that would be good for 1 day's use plus 2 hours of firefighting. Is that correct?
As far as I know, when it comes to all the compliance and everything, we need to make sure that we're in compliance first before we do any of that. So that's why the main thing is being in compliance with the NMED as well.
Right.
So
I understand that part. But what the question basically is I know that the Wilson and Company has come in and done a study on this. So I'm assuming that they've programmed into those numbers.
Yes.
More than just what we have been currently using, which was the cemetery. Because we didn't have any other parks plumbed in to be able to water. So is this enough? If we do the parks, that we're gonna be able to take care of those also?
That's probably a question that Mr. Bradley could answer.
Yes, yes, thank you, Mayor, City Council. My name is Chris Bradley. I'm with Wilson and Company. We prepared the wastewater treatment plant corrective action plan last spring to get the city back into compliance with their discharge permit DP 887. So the storage tank, so what's primarily happening is that the treatment plant is producing a decent quality effluent, but then it's being held in an open pond. It has susceptibility to get more contamination and degrade the quality of the water. So that's really one of the big issues going on there. The storage tank would take the effluent directly from the treatment plant, that approach, and keep it isolated and safer from further contamination so that it would be able to be used for the reuse system that's in place. I think you were saying the question is about the size of the tank. Now, the size of the tank is sized to meet two different goals, basically. Like you said, you have the effluent reuse, but you also have a fire flow portion of that water. So you want to have enough storage in your tank to be able to provide that fire protection, but also you have the effluent use. Now, as you're using that water, if the wastewater coming out of the plant is being treated to a good quality, that wastewater effluent is going in and filling the tank at the same time as you're drawing off it. So during the day, you wouldn't be limited to just a very serial, like you fill the tank, you use the tank, then you fill the tank again. So your 300,000 gallon tank would be getting used at the same time that it's being filled. So that was part of that calculation. And I hope that answers your question.
Well, it helps to answer that question.
But did that calculation include all the parks or just the one place we have plumbed right now? That's the question.
So the calculation of that flow should handle all of the parts you currently have throughout the day for that reuse purpose. If you do add more on, then you do tap into some of that fire flow. But the idea is that we do end up expanding the treatment plant. The plant produces plenty of effluent throughout the day, like 1.2 million gallons. So really it's a matter of the timing of how quickly you get that wastewater effluent into that tank compared to the time that you need to use it. So ideally, you're able to produce plenty throughout the day. The tank is just cycling. The approach here is that everything would go through that tank, and then as it comes out, or if it is not used for the reuse system, it would then overflow into a discharge situation like you'd normally have if there was no reuse. So that's the scope of the design. Of course, all of that has to be worked through and everything, but that's the proposed approach that we had.
Also reading in there that you're gonna change up the place and how you took the samples.
Yes, yeah, we do feel that the current permit, the way that it is written, it leads you to more potential for coming out of compliance with the permit, because you do have a discharge that comes out of the plant pretty good, but then that final sampling point before reuse was after it had sat in a pond for a while. So you do have, waterfowl and algae. So you do get some growth of some of those suspended solids to take you out of the permit parameters.
The current system we have, does it complete a loop in the pipeline that goes around through town? Does it come back into the plant, or is it basically a charged line that does not circulate?
It is, as I understand it, it is a charged line that is available for demand. It is in a loop formation, so you're able to deliver water and pressure to all the points in the loop. So you're not doing a simple dead end that could have lower pressures at the very end of it. But that's how your system is. It doesn't go back through the plant though.
So would that not create a stagnant amount of water that was not being used?
It does have the potential for creating some stagnant water, but the concerns of that are more about the contamination. Since this is not drinking water, you don't have to worry as much about, having a chlorine residual and that sort of thing. But you're going to have enough water, sufficient water within the reuse system that you could do some flushing programs. And as you increase the more irrigation sites for the city, I think you'll see the turnover in that system become higher.
I guess all of this is just leading to the point that we've got a plan out there that hasn't really functioned properly since it was built. And I'm not gonna start placing blame as to why that happened or whatever, but if we're gonna request money and funding for something, then we need to make sure that the things that we're requesting are gonna fix this and get it back into compliance and have it operating properly. And so I just wanted to make sure, and that's the reason I was asking those questions. If we get these things fixed, is there still gonna be a bottleneck where that's gonna cause us a problem later on?
The ultimate goal here is to get your plant working in a highly effective manner. And we do understand there are some other, there are other issues with the plant right now with the inability to take care of some of the odor control, the grit removal, the headworks, the screening facilities. All those are also in that corrective action plan as well. We feel like if there's a more efficient removal of some of those solids up front, the effectiveness of the treatment plant itself, an air mod treatment, the system that you have is actually a very efficient, it's a really good form of treatment for wastewater. But all those little tweaks and improvements will help it run more efficiently. And then taking care of that reclaimed water once it's all treated is really the next goal, to make sure that you can discharge it and use it the way you were intending to. So those are great questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Merrick, if I may.
Yes.
To your last question, if the water is not used, then this doesn't help very much. Now, Mr. Bradley, you may want to address the part about water that isn't used going to the playa, because that's part of the concept. But if we don't use the water in this fashion, it doesn't help that much. We have to use it. And we also have a responsibility to put in the playa as well. So it's a whole concept to make this work. If we just put it in a 300,000 gallon tank, that we're out of Schlitz. So we have to use it and then continue to use it, and then it does what it's supposed to, which takes the load off the wastewater treatment plant, which allows us to fix some of the more broken portions of the wastewater treatment plant.
Which means as we go through this, we've got to get those parks ready to go, so when this improvement is done, we can beat, because right now we can't.
You're not wrong.
Yep, exactly. And I'm not sure who was speaking there, but yeah, that's a great point. And it's important to note that discharge to the playa is sort of a disposal option. You need to get rid of the wastewater. So wastewater treatment just splits the waste and the water, right? So you're still left with this amazing volume of water that has to be taken care of somewhere. So no matter whether it goes onto the parks or goes into the playa, it needs to be a certain quality of effluent, to protect the public health. So regardless of what happens, to get back into compliance with the permit, there need to be fixes made into the system. Then you get into compliance with the permit, you're able to produce a nice high quality wastewater treatment effluent, right? A reclaimed water that's that nice class 1A standard, meets your permit, can be used in a bunch of different ways, including land application on a playa. But that's the idea. The goal here is that if the wastewater treatment plant effluent, that reclaimed water, can be used for all those non-potable uses within the community. That removes those demands off of your potable water system, which allows you to produce a little less water on the drinking water side. You don't have to pump and treat and chlorinate and distribute the drinking water to then be used for non-potable use. So it's a two-sided approach to try and shrink yourself back into consumption by diverting that non-potable use off of the drinking water system, taking care of those needs for fire flow and for irrigation and that sort of thing. Use that reclaimed water for that. So those are great points. Absolutely.
Just for clarity,
Go ahead.
will this grant be large enough to cover the taps to get that into the parks? And if not, can it be increased?
I'm gonna give you a strong, I think so. But that's the best I can do. I know that rules and research. That was the question I had at looking at it as well. But
And we'll increase the grant request to cover that?
my previous statement, I think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to do some due diligence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Further questions?
I have one question. When we're gonna have all this water stored, is it possible that we can look for a customer to sell it to? Since we have an issue about whether or not it's going to be used properly, used out of, do we have any other outlets other than our parks?
I think that's a fair question. I think if there's a market for class 1A water, that's worth exploring. But right now, I would say there's no customer waiting to buy 1A affluent water, but that certainly could be on the table.
Well, there could be some customers out there.
There could be.
And could we put a price on that?
I don't know what the fair market value of affluent water is right now, but I'm sure we can look it up. And I'm not making light of it. It's just something I know.
Think about it, because I think there are some customers out there might want.
The key to this whole thing is 300,000 gallons sounds like a lot of water. It's not that much.
Right.
But we have to keep it flowing and use it or give it back to the aquifer to make this work. So it's got to flow, whether someone's buying it, whether we're watering ballparks with it, whether you're using it for agriculture, or we're putting it back in the playa. It has to keep moving through. I think what Mr. Bradley was saying is it'll pretty much scrub as much influent as we give it, and it'll turn it into a good quality 1A effluent, but it's up to us to find the way to keep that thing flowing through, which will take the demands off our drinking water, which will also take the demands off our $27 million wastewater treatment plant, give that a break so we can get it fixed to the standard we need, and possibly do both at the same time to continue to move forward in the future, securing water resiliency for Portales. It's all part of the overall project.
Further questions regarding this resolution 2025 the 26 Water Trust Board loan grant application for wastewater treatment.
Motion we approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rackler, a second by Mr. Robinson. This is a resolution, so Ms. Wolf, can you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Ms. Cordova?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Merrick?
Yes.
Ms. Parker?
Yeah.
Mr. Rackler?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Self?
Yes.
It passes.
Our next item is governing body's approval of resolution 2025-31 for 2026 Water Trust Board loan grant application for water storage system improvements.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is based off of the construction portion of the water storage system improvements. This is just to move forward with the construction part, just as before. Everything is based off of the funding, who will be able to sign in absences, as well as who can submit, and moving forward with the application process.
Questions from Ms. Lewis?
Is this the same? It says continuing the project, correct?
Yes.
We saw this quite some time back. And the wording was pretty close to the same as it was then about what they're fixing to do. And this is all pertaining to the Lime Street tank, right?
Yes.
At that point, it was a $6.5 million grant. What part of this project did we get done with that?
We're still in the process of it. Right now, we're doing the plan and design for 2024's funding. 2025's funding is going to implement the construction. And then from 2026, it's going to be the construction continuance.
Okay, so we're still using on the $6.5 million, the original, is that correct?
No, this will be 10 million.
But, Ms. Flores, to the question, we're still operating on the $6.5 million for A&E. So architecture and design,
For-
yes. I think the
2024's funding for the storage system was 500,000.
Okay. So all this up to now $6.5 million for planning and engineering, is that correct?
I don't think we.
No, sir.
Much.
I think it's 500,000 is what we voted on last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to decide where the rest of the
Yeah.
$6.5 million is and where it's going.
Okay,
Is it going to construction along with this 10 million?
Yes,
So we got a total of 16 million for the construction portion, is that correct?
It's
Yes.
gonna cost
gonna-
the two parts.
mm-hmm. For estimated for 2025's funding, it's estimated to be up to, I think, a little over 7 million. But we're gonna break it down into phase process, so that's why we requested 10 million for 2026's funding, and then moving forward for 2027, we're gonna be requesting, depending on what our projects are at that time, just because it's a continuous phase project for every year until the project is done. And right now with the projected, just for the rehab, for the for the tank is a little over 8.5 million. And for the booster station and transmissions lines, it's about almost $9 million.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
And this basically is the way the Water Trust Board wants to fund these projects. Is that not correct?
That is very correct.
Further questions? What's the pleasure? Sorry, go ahead.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-31 for 26 Water Trust Board loan grant application.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Cordova, second by Ms. Parker. Mr. Merritt.
Is this, which resolution is this? Which resolution on?
2025-31. This is on the
Okay, before we approve this resolution, do we not need to take care of the wording that was brought up earlier?
If that question is directed to me, yes, I would we need to clean the wording up on the whereas statement. The whereas statement covers two projects, same ballpark, but different game. So we do have two very large projects at hand. One is in the Blackwater Rail Field, and then one is at Lime Street. This whereas statement covers both topics, but it doesn't do a good job of really defining them. So we need to change some verbiage here and just separate it so we know in the whereas statement specifically what this resolution is applicable to.
Well, so in that resolution, 25-31, it starts out in the whereas. It's through construction management and rehabilitation of 3 million gallon tank and a booster station.
And that's Lime Street.
Then from there on, it says 2 1.5 million gallon tanks, storage tank, test holes, production wells, transmission lines, and booster station.
Yep.
That's what needs to be removed because that's talking about Blackwater well. So we're talking about a 3 million gallon storage tank booster station at the Lime Street facility.
That's correct. Lime Street's 3 million gallon in-ground tank. To be completely renovated with a complete renovation of the booster pump station. There are two projects. It's not wrong, but just the one project should be on this document.
Well, the reason it has both, everything on there is because since the storage tanks tie in with each other as far as everything coming from the well field, Johnson Hill and all of that. So that's why this one has to be worded accordingly to the well, or for, the well field as well as the storage system. And then the well field one is based off of just the well field. Because the storage tank is tied in with the well field.
This storage tank is what's gonna be bringing in the new water project, huh? I mean, it is tied into the well field currently, but it's gonna be designated as where the deep water project water comes in.
In Sand Hill too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are you, and Mr. Minton, are you suggesting, or are we saying that we just need to the line through and 2 1.5 million gallon water storage tanks, test holes, production wells, transmission line?
I'm now doing algebra in public, forgive me. So the 2 1.5 million gallon tanks that we discussed a couple of weeks ago, those are at Blackwater or?
Yes.
Okay, then, and we're not proposing 2 1.5 million tanks in Sand Hill
Correct.
nor Lime Street. So that this is the part that's giving me a hard time right there. Now, Ms. Flores, if you're saying definitively that because of a connection, these two items have to be recognized together, then I don't necessarily see a problem with that statement. But if they need to be separated, then it is a little bit problematic for understanding. And on that piece, I'm just a little bit not clear.
Correct. Well, what I went off of the resolutions that were done in the past, and they only did one resolution for both of these projects. So I took it upon myself to add and put where I needed to make sure the verbiage was as clear as could be. But we can take out whatever you want just to be able, this one just ties in with the storage tank. That is fine. And then just as the well field is based off of the well field, we can leave that one as is after we discuss it. We can do however you want it, however you would like it to work. I was just going off of what was done in the past, and I do apologize about that. I should have just taken it and done what I needed to do to make sure that it ties in with the correct project.
And how critical is time on this right now?
I have until the 11th,
Of September, October?
September.
Okay.
So I would recommend we adjust the motion to strike that part and just leave it things that are associated with Lime Street.
Do we know that if in the past, the reasoning for this verbiage was to make sure that everything was aligned for the grant? Is this gonna affect the grant where if we don't have that verbiage in it, it may be denied?
No, I don't think so. I think what was done before is they only used the one resolution just for all of it, because whenever I was looking at documents from the 2024's application, it only had one resolution for both applications. So I was trying to separate it to where it worked for each resolution tied in with each project.
From my window, I think we're absolutely fine by motioning the city council to motion and vote or propose that we line it out. And let me explain why really quick. In either case, $10 million is not enough to get us where we need to be. On Lime Street, the tank alone is close to $10 million. The booster pump station is close to $10 million. We're somewhere around 18 million dollars to get that project done. So 10 mil is not enough. And in the well field, $10 million is not enough for that either. And that's why we're phasing it in. So I think by lining this portion out that's not applicable to Lime Street, we're fine by clearly defining that this is limited to Lime Street here. And I think we're perfectly safe and we're not changing any scope as it is.
And it's more clear.
Yeah.
So back to.
Yes, I'd like to amend my my motion to to approve resolution 2025-31 and line out in the whereas, the second whereas, the last sentence that says, and two 1.5 million gallon water storage tanks, test holes, production wells, transmission lines, and booster station.
Well, the transmission lines and booster station already has that for the Lime Street, so that would have to stay.
There's transmission lines and booster stations at both places.
Correct.
So we can address the one for the well field when we talk about the well field.
Right, but
Booster stations mentioned right before this.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. So I would have to leave the transmission lines and I'll take out the booster station.
Okay, so I will make my motion to include that transmission line,
Perfect. I will do that.
omit the rest.
do I have a second to that amended motion? So Ms. Parker seconded that. Everybody understand the motion now on this resolution? Yeah. All right. That being said, Ms. Swopes, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Self.
Yes.
It carries.
Thank you. Last item in this particular section is, no, sorry, it's not the last item. Next to last item. Governing body's approval of resolution 2025-32 for 2026 Water Trust Board loan grant application for well field improvements. Ms. Flores.
Yeah, so this one is same as before and just moving forward with a 20-year project. It's going to be based off of construction in the well field as far as the geophysical, archaeological, and environmental studies that needed permitting, electrical and SCADA system, construction management, transmission lines, booster stations for the storage tanks within the well field. And just moving forward, the same thing as before, that we are applying or we're filing an application through the NMFA for the Water Trust Board for 2026 water project funding. Also will designate the mayor or the mayor pro tem in absence and designated official representatives of the city of Portales for the matters related to the application, as well as the city manager. In his absence, the utility superintendent will be designated to be authorized officer and being a primary contact, and the public works project administrator is designated for additional content.
Questions for Ms. Flores?
I do have one. Page 113 in our packet is still referring to 3 million gallon tank, storage tank. Instead of a storage facility where it could be two 1.5 million gallon tanks. Isn't that what we talked about?
Yes, the plan is two 1.5 million gallon tanks.
Excuse me?
The plan is two times 1.5 million gallon tanks. You're not wrong. You're correct.
Okay.
And last time we discussed this, we talked about referring to it as a 3 million gallon water storage facility.
Right.
So we just need to change tank to facility.
That would be fine.
Okay.
And that's in this application, not on the resolution. Okay? Or is it on the resolution?
It's on the resolution as well.
Page 113, top paragraph, I believe.
No, I'm referring to the resolution.
Okay, yes, I see what you're saying. I can change that.
Facility instead of tank.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2025-32 for 2026 Water Trust Board loan grant application with the amendment of on the line, the 3 million gallon storage tank to change it to 3 million gallon storage facility.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Self, second by Mr. Robinson. Are you clear on the motion, Ms. Swoops, with
Yes,
the changes? All right.
yes.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yeah.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Self.
Yes.
It passes.
Okay. Our last item. Governing body's approval of Mayor Miller's signature giving authority for the 2026 applicant certification for Water Trust Board loan grant application. Ms. Flores.
Just as it states, it's just as the 2026 application certification, and you're giving me authorization to be able to submit these applications.
Questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Merrick, second by Ms. Parker. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Next item, public access to full agenda information packets. Mr. Mitt.
I've been paranoid all night about hitting my head on this TV if I didn't stand up.
I think that's a legitimate, some of us wouldn't have to worry about that.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. This evening, I'm seeking a vote or decision on the city's current practice regarding the distribution, accessibility of full agenda information packets. Specifically, I'm proposing that full packets be maintained at the city clerk's office and made available upon constituent request, or alternatively, that the full packets be posted publicly online. While holding agenda information closely may help mitigate certain risks, it can also create public perception that the city is withholding information. On the other hand, broadcasting full agenda packets, particularly those containing operational and financial details, introduces cybersecurity risks. To date, the city has identified 2 verifiable instances of attempted cybercrimes and fraud, both of which were based on information found in publicly accessible agenda packets. I'm seeking a decision from the city council on which direction to go. Hold the packets closed in the city clerk's office, available to citizens upon request, or to broadcast them and put them out there with the general notes. I'm seeking a decision from the council, subject to questions.
Mr. Midwood, so would that request be an emperor request, just to clarify?
No, it'd be a
for the public,
simple
or
request.
Can they just come in and?
The request would be a simple full agenda packet request to the city clerk's office. And then the city clerk would send the request directly to the requestor.
So it's not gonna go through that whole emperor.
Does not have to go through the whole.
Okay.
And we can send those via email so that they have them readily access to their email instead of printing the packets out.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe that would be perfectly fine. Yeah.
I'll try to go last.
I had a question. You mentioned last time that you got a lot of meetings in Hobbs and Lovington in different areas, and they all seem to post it.
And that's what I was gonna say. In my comment. If you'll go to the City of Hobbs website and go to their meetings. You can request, you can click and just get the agenda, or you can click and get the full agenda packet. And they have done that. I've been doing this now for about 14 years. And that's been available just like that. And it's still available like that. Now, I don't usually request the full packet, but sometimes I won't, I can't pull it up. I don't know whether they didact certain things based on what these security issues. And, my suggestion would be to get a hold of Jan, who's the city clerk there, and see how they do that, if that's the way we wanted to do it.
Yeah, when doing research into this, a couple things come to light. It's recommended that you either deduct information from the overall package, it's incredibly labor intensive. And it's just difficult to do. Lower, smaller municipalities are particular targets right now for cyber crimes and fraud. Typically, cities like Los Angeles, New York they're hit quite a bit, but the crimes the criminals
seem to think that smaller municipalities and subsets of municipalities have lower level security systems so that they're able to get into government systems like that. So we are not either way. We know that there's been some public concern over the ready availability of packets. So again, we're seeking a decision on publish them all publicly or keep them so when what person requests it, that person gets that. The only difference is we know who got it. So if we do have mishaps, we can start a trail there on what happened with the mishap, as opposed to just a ghost in the night who came in and broke in cyber, created a cyber crime through our vulnerabilities by posting it out there.
So let me kind of back to Ms. Cordova's question, comment. Would I have to go to City Hall and make that request, or could I make that request?
You can email the city clerk.
Email the city clerk and then have her email it to me.
That would be a technique, yeah. And I
Okay,
believe that.
so the only difference in what you're saying there versus posting it for everyone is you have a record of who asked for that.
100%. Yes.
Because you're still sharing stuff electronically.
We're still sharing it electronically. Yeah, so what's happening really on many of these crimes is it's not someone's coming in surreptitiously from the side. They're often posing as a contractor. So we're paying out a contractor, or we have some kind of a receipt or bill of materials or some other thing. So somebody sees that through the agenda, the total packets, and they come in, they create they replicate someone's persona, their online identity, and then they approach the municipality with following up on a bill or a routing number or something like that, and then it starts. And, I didn't bring the research here, and I didn't believe that it belonged to this packet, but there are many small cities across the nation right now who are completely binding up their finances, zero in their bank accounts, zero credit lines, and so on. So again, we are not for one or the other. We just need to, one, understand that we are vulnerable, but two, we need to decide how we're going to do it.
Mr. Mayor, I can speak to that because we have seen an uptick in vendor requests for ACH items where they'll contact the accounts payable and they'll say, hey, we have a change in our routing and account number. Please update your records as needed. Well, that employee, doesn't call and verify, hey, was this you that sent this? I think we have policies in place to where we have to go through and contact that vendor. But sometimes that doesn't happen. So if the employee just goes in and, it's Friday afternoon, they're ready to go home, they go in and they change that for whatever reason. I've seen a municipality lose not that long ago a ton of money, and we still have to uphold our financial responsibility to our citizens as well, and that is a valid concern. So it is happening, it's happening often, and it's something that we need to really be cautious about.
Well, let me ask this question, and I know of an instance where a school district lost about $320 like that. But my question would be the availability of the packet. We usually post the packets on Friday, correct? So I want to request the packet, but I'm not going to get it till Monday. Whereas if it was online, I could get it the minute that you put it up there. Do you see an issue there?
Getting full 72 hours access.
So just for clarification, the agenda packet does not fall within the 72 hours. That's just the agenda.
I understand that. I'm not talking about any kind of, I'm just talking about, just the accessibility for me. Let's just say as a citizen, I wanted to ask for it on Friday afternoon. So I had the weekend to take a look at it in case I wanted to come, hopefully make public comment.
Yeah, I would argue that if we're making an adjustment on how we do it, we might have to make an adjustment to our timeline as well. So I have talked to members of the council about ensuring that we get the draft agenda packets in no later than Wednesdays. And then our due diligence that we have to back that up to, we put suspenses of, say, Thursday, it'll take some doing, but we can do that. But again, keep in mind,
We're not asking, we're not trying to compel you to go one way or the other. We just owe the people a decision on which one we're going to do.
I could see some people asking for this every meeting that we have, and kind of like clockwork, just a repetition, so I think as long as we make it available, I'd be okay with that recommendation, but
I'm just having an email request for one from.
I think it's
From my past experience in IT, I would rather us do that than just put it on. I'd rather it be requested. I'd like to see it ready on Thursday where you have all day on Friday to send those emails out. I can foresee people like Mr. Davidson requesting it on Thursday anyway, because he knows he wants it no matter what, so. They're gonna, ask for it ahead of time, and then
Well, that was my whole point is, I think if we're gonna go with the route of having them request it and us have to answer that request, which I don't have a problem with, as long as it's simple, but that it be available prior to the weekend, that we could get it to them before the close of business on Friday.
We can manage if that's the direction that we go, we can manage our workflows to make that happen.
And understanding we can amend the agenda up to 36 hours before the meeting. So, what you get on Friday, there might be an addition to. Have to be Friday, but I think as long as I have no problem with that, as long as it could be available before the weekend, but when we don't.
I agree. I'm good with that. And I think it's a best win-win for the city. Cybersecurity. Protect the city, but yet.
You make your motion.
I'm gonna make a motion.
And our, just so you're aware, our checks do go out. We still handwrite checks, so that routing number and account number is still out there. That doesn't keep us from, having 100% foolproof from fraud, but.
This is in no way foolproof. This is
Yeah,
just a
it's
measure
just a
of,
measure.
But
some housekeeping.
Of an idea who requested things.
Miss Swopes, is there anything that you'd like to add? Cause you're the one pulling those out or pushing those out.
It is going to affect the city employees and it's going to force them to step up their work and turn things in much sooner. So I really think that needs to be considered as well, because it's not a matter of just kind of snapping our fingers and, oh, it's ready on Wednesday or Thursday. It's a lot of work. And there are changes that are made right to the very last second almost. You were lucky this last time on Friday that you got it before 5 p.m. on Friday evening. Because there were so many changes, last minute changes and alterations that had to happen. And that's just kind of the nature of it.
So what would you recommend?
Well, honestly, I'm so used to the way it's been happening and having the 72 hours and sending it out on Friday before 5 p.m. You actually get like a little bit more time than the 72 hours. 72 hours before the meeting precisely would be on Saturday. And I'm not coming in on Saturday to make you people happy. But
to that point, Ms. Swope, if a citizen notified you on Friday morning that they'd like to have the agenda packet, then you could send it out Friday evening when you send it out for us.
there's that, and part of what I do before.
Make sure they understood.
Yes. Part of what I do on Friday evenings or Friday afternoons before, when you get yours, I'm also sending the agenda out to an agenda group. There's like 50 some odd people in that agenda group, and so they're getting the agenda. They're not getting the agenda packet, and that's the way I was trained. But that could potentially be changed. And we could create a whole different group of people that if they give me their email and I create an email group, and then those are the ones that are included in the agenda packet on Fridays. That's also a potential.
And then
That
you
could
would just have those one-offs that if they were requesting just
Yes.
this week's, then they would have it.
Yes. We could totally build an agenda group that gets the packet. Yes.
We appreciate everything that you do, and unfortunately, the way times are changing. I mean, doing this is something completely different than the way it's ever been. I mean, and we're having to watch, and I think when we talk about anything that we do, and we are proactive rather than reactive, instead of waiting and putting it and posting it, because we've always done it that way, and all of a sudden we get compromised, then we rush to try to do something. So making a good faith effort and with your staff and with everybody that's included in this, and you have to have, I mean, you're looking at deadlines totally from the get-go, and we appreciate everything that you do. And on the other hand, we don't want to try to make additional, but make it to where we are covered as far as the city and the cybersecurity and everything that's going on now, that is just unbelievable on how people can gain information. And, you know, like you said, it's not going to be completely foolproof, but okay, they'll never get no, never say never. So we thank you for all that. But I think the best, I think posting it the way we've done it in the past is kind of now in the past. So we do need to.
It's just been a matter of a couple of years that we've actually, not even a couple of years that we were actually posting the packet.
Right.
It's just that.
It's always been a hard copy.
Yeah. So. I'm kind of torn here, because I think that practice needs to stay where that it's accessible to people, but I understand the security risk. And so the solution seems to be to have people just requested and then sent to them. And then, like you say, you've got a list of who that was sent to if something ever popped up. But I mean, it's not like you're gonna track them down, because you've got cyber criminals that are watching people's emails. They could get that information there. It's just a myriad of possibilities. So, and like Diane said, you're never going to get it to where that you just 100% safer, but that might help.
It'll give you a starting point, in investigations, and I think that's pretty important, now starting point.
I just hate to limit the access to the public other than having to come through the place, but. And that's not probably gonna become another load on you, because you don't know, it's not gonna be a set number of people. You may have 10 one week and 100 the next week, and you've got to add all of those people into a list to send out. So. What? I'm sorry. I mean, it'd be a whole lot simpler to just put it up on the side, say, here it is.
What if we do suggestion of the request? Make sure that everybody understands ahead of time somewhere that you can request this and you will receive it by close of business on Friday. And continue to research how we can post it on the web in a more secure manner.
So not some way to make it's like any other site, have a login. Where you could go on there and you've got a secure site, get in there. To one spot in the website that you can pull that back. And then there's a data record of you actually going in there and doing that.
100%. That this is before you today, because right now the packets aren't public. So we need to.
They are publicly in a different way.
Yes, but so we either need to keep it or make a change. But we can't be in a stalemate. We have to move forward with something. To your question, absolutely, 100%. Can citizens of Portales or anyone else for that matter who needs access to that information request a username and a password to a database where a packet is kept or a library of packets are kept? 100%.
Yeah.
That can be done. And I would argue that that's even more secure than what the proposal is right now. The proposal right here, right now, is do nothing or do something.
Well, and I,
It's always a course of action, so.
And I just wanted to state, sometimes there's things that we review and then I need a refresher too. So I have to go back and I go back through the minutes and I figure out like, oh, it was around this date. And then I research on the website as well. Just to, refresh my memory. So having those, I'm torn as well because having those online, it's easier for research.
That's minutes, so.
Oh, yeah, the packets, yeah. That's
Two
true.
weeks ago, we convened and there was a certain level of unhappiness because of the unavailability, and we have made a change based on some recommendations. I'm standing before you today to decide, are we gonna move forward and change something a little bit to be a little more secure, or are we gonna post them again? We are indifferent. We just need to know some of the people.
So, Elder, to your point, could we say right now, let's make it available by request and continue to work on that secure username, password, build that vault, whatever you want to call it? Because that's not gonna happen overnight.
Well, Chris is magic right there.
Give me more money in the budget.
In your budget, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, I guess I'll make that motion. Let's take Mr. Mitten's recommendation, the staff's recommendation to make it available upon request before the weekend. Whether it's a permanent email or a temporary, I don't know if we can choose to add that, but and also forward thinking, look into a database where they could log in. But for now, I make the motion that make it available to public before the weekend. Yeah. Let me make one little clarification before we get a second. Okay. On the packet itself, as part of the OMA, it does not have to be a 72-hour limit. As long as it does not change the agenda. If what you put in the packet changes the way that it was presented in the agenda, then it does. But if it's just a change procedure or wording of information that was in there, that does not have, it can be done last minute. So just so that everybody's clear on that, what we're talking about here as far as the packet.
And know that it can be amended up to 36 hours before.
Yeah.
And then, is there a way, Chief Williams, is there a way to actually use your redact software to where it omits some of those some of the information based off of like account numbers, routing numbers, that type of thing?
Yes, ma'am, we can try feeding it through, and our system's already used to looking for driver's license numbers, social security numbers, all that. It may, I think work good, plus we try it.
I have a motion.
Second.
And I have a second. So now we can work.
Okay. Sorry.
Is there any more discussion? Does everybody understand the motion? We're gonna make it available. If you like it, the motion says make it available by the end of the day on Friday before the meeting on Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's the motion and the second. Is there further discussion? Oh, and to look forward to maybe a better way to do it.
But I think to clarify to for the clerks, so they're not having to work last minute on who to send it to, we probably need to know by Thursday for public. Is
They
that
can request by Thursday, but not expect to get it on Thursday.
Right,
correct?
right. You just say it so they're not requesting it,
If
you know,
4:45
4:45 on Friday afternoon to be expected.
Sure,
But y'all can you can put those instructions forward. That's
sure.
And then, yeah, and then if we place that on our website or our social media pages to where this is how we're, just,
Yeah, so everybody knows.
yeah, just so everybody knows, education.
So you don't have to work, sir.
That's right.
You know what?
I'd get grumpy if I had to do that. You don't want that.
Okay, everybody understand the motion, seconded by Mr. Rackler? All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are now to the council and staff comments. I'll start with staff. And I'll start back there with Chief Williams, who's. Comments?
I think for time's sake, if the staff would like to stay at their desk, that's fine.
Okay.
As long as we can hear you.
I can do that. So. Currently, our staffing, our civilian personnel is full, that's 5 civilians. Now including the youth sports coordinator. We're allowed 24 SWAN officers, that leaves that's 6 vacancies. We have a police service aide that's taking up one of those. We have 1 officer in the police academy with graduation date of late December 2nd. And then, of course, we're continuing through our biennium mandated 40-hour training, that's 51. We've got officers enrolled in several different advanced trainings coming up, first line supervisor, the FBI leadership training. Our vehicle fleet currently at 29, with 19 of those being the marked units, with 2 of them out of service. We have 10 unmarked with 2 out of service, 1 because we're waiting on registration for it. So, at that last month in August, the police department handled 650 calls, did 333 traffic stops, issued 365 traffic citations. Took 108 incident reports, or 36 crashes, and made 32 arrests. So far, and as I ran this about 2 o'clock today, we'd already taken 26 calls in the last 2 days. They made 15 traffic stops. Just got to compare it to the other 2 law enforcement agencies in this area. Did 412 calls last month. And 218 traffic stops. And then I also have this Combs report whenever you want that.
You still have 4.
She has 10 total positions. The total number filled is 9, 1 coming on board June 14th. She had 1 resignation this last week, but I have a candidate chosen to fill that spot. The number of dispatchers in-house academy is 3. She has 6 certified, including herself. She has 1 going to the academy in October. Trainings for each certified dispatcher must complete yearly and biennial training to maintain their certification for GANA-LEA, Law Enforcement Academy. Trainings are scheduled through EMU continuing education courses. Other training courses are assigned to each dispatcher and their online training program. There are also continuing education courses offered through MCADIS, which is the state's training portal, which each dispatcher has access to. 3 of her mandatory yearly training courses will be in October through NMU by Chief Hall.
Thank you. Chief Cassie?
Yes, sir. So as it stands, we have 28 of our 38 budgeted positions full, with the remaining 2 positions being filled later this month. Applicants from our last new hire process in August. We have 20 of our personnel trained to the minimum standard, and 10 personnel to be trained or in the process of training. We have 7 of our 11 fire apparatus in service this time, and 5 of our 6 ambulances. Last month, we had 264 total calls for service, 90% EMS, 10% fire, 77% or 206 were inside the city limits, with 58 or 13% outside the city limits. During this time frame, our average response time is 13.5 minutes. I would like to thank the A shift personnel that put on the Station 2 open house this last weekend, and everybody who was able to attend. And C shift will be hosting a open house at Station 7. So, social media posts about that.
You know, C shifters are usually a problem for working. All right, does IT have any comments?
No, sir.
Okay. You hide back there, I just want to make sure I recognize you, so.
She's already working on that lockdown.
Yeah, there you go. Ms. McClellan, anything?
Out of the 9 positions that we have 8 filled. We're gonna fill the last commissioner code enforcement officer. Training's kind of hard to go over because we have so many different departments, but tomorrow we do have 4 employees, myself included, going to a training, where 2 of us are getting recertified and 2 of our new employees are being certified. For animal shelter stuff. For an update on the animal shelter, which is what everyone's always interested in. We are waiting on 3 permits, the electrical permit we passed. The building permit, which is at the state, we're waiting for them to approve it. And then the parts for water that we have a hard time tracking down have been got. And they said at the end of this week or next week, the construction will be done, and then we can reinspect. And if we pass it then, we're gonna reach out to do internet, which they said only take a few days. We're ready to move in, and they're waiting on all the groundwork to be done before the fence up. We're not gonna worry about the fence, we're gonna move while they work around this. Fingers crossed, we're gonna be ending that project.
Ms. Leslie?
I have 7 full-time positions and we are fully staffed. We have one who started in July, for Josh, we threw him right into the summer reading fire, so he's still learning, but he's doing a fantastic job right now. All of the staff is working on cross training in-house for a concept that we're working on. Sarah Victor, who is the assistant librarian, will start library administration coursework through the state library soon, and I'll be attending Municipal League here in the middle of the month. Our library fall programming kicked off today. We had 2 different programs. We'll host Books and Babies, 2 preschool story times, stream, and 3 book clubs by Friday of this week. This month, we're open to the public 25 days, and we'll host 25 programs. So we've got a busy month ahead of us. Dropped you all off some calendars up front. We have some new programs this fall. We've added 2 adult programs a month, a family night, and a Lego club. The Lego club will be 1 Friday a month. We're hoping to get some kids in maybe who are home on Fridays with school being out, give them something extra to do. Also, we've partnered with the Roosevelt County Historical Museum and Haley Goebel to host her Roosevelt Refreshers. She does that out at the Vineyard once a month. She's gonna do a repeat of the same program there at the library once a month, and we're gonna have a fall craft night for adults this month and a new family night. If anybody's interested, please visit our website or Facebook page. We have calendars posted all the time. Of course, you can stop by and pick up a paper copy. And then September is National Library Card Sign Up Month. We have so many things to offer, and it's all free. So if you have a library card, please come see us and we'll get you fixed up. That's all I've got.
Still get an actual card.
You get an actual
That
card.
might be new today.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the HR department's fully staffed. We're budgeted for 2 personnel, myself and my assistant, Mr. Charles Clark. So this last month's been busy. At the end of June, so July 1, when they were able to, when you guys approved the budget, that allowed us to have 17 more positions within the city. So that allowed some more vacancies for us to be able to work with. So we've been working hard to get the job positions out there, be able to get enrollments, conditional offers, pre-employment drug tests. Our job descriptions are posted on our city website. They're posted on Indeed, Glassdoor, LinkedIn. So there's a lot of different avenues where people can see our positions, and they're welcome to post. They're able to submit their applications through the city website or through the different links that they find the job descriptions on. So a lot of different avenues. So just to remember where they're at. So if anyone asks you, that's kind of where they find it. So we're working on filling those positions. We've been working on getting Charles Clark, my assistant, trained up so that he can be even more of an asset for the HR department. So if I'm ever out of office, we don't have anything halting. We're able to continue our motion of being able to support the rest of the departments. I'll be going to the New Mexico Municipal Training this month to be able to continue my training to be able to be the best we can for the HR department. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Works.
We are looking forward to the potential of hiring someone this year who can function as an IPRA clerk. We are both record management clerks, and we're happy to do that, but it's beginning to be a bit overwhelming at times because we have such a higher demand than what we did just last year. IPRAs are gaining in popularity, and partly because people are kind of weaponizing the privilege of freedom of information. So we look forward to getting that person hired and trained, and it's going to take a little bit of time but we do look forward to that. One of our projects is to actually get in our files, the city clerk files, and make sure that they're safe and well kept and organized, and that's one of my goals. One of my other goals is to reassert the MuniCode system, which is available on the city website. And we need to start sending those approved ordinances in. It was a project that was happening with our former clerk, Ms. Joanne, but when she became ill, that project stopped. And so there's a bit of a backlog that we need to work on, but we look forward to being able to pick that up and start that again. So we also will be going to the New Mexico Municipal League in Ruidoso in September, and then later on we'll be going to back to Ruidoso in October for municipal clerks training. Word left my head. Sorry, it's been a long night.
It's a long day.
So anyway,
That's it.
I think so. Yes.
Miss Rudd, do you have anything? Sorry, Melissa.
I will be emailing the packet for the New Mexico Municipal League Conference for all council. And I will work on yours, Mr. Reckler. That's all I have. Thank
I
you.
was gonna save this for my comments, but I think it's appropriate now. Did you receive something from the league for us to designate a voting member and alternate? Because normally, you know, there will be positions of at-large board members, secretary, vice president, and president-elect at the annual business meeting on Thursday afternoon, as well as some bylaws changes. And most communities, we're normally asked to, designate a voting member as well as an alternate. That used to come through the clerks.
It's quite possible, and I might have overlooked that. So
So we probably need to make that designation this evening, so that since it's in 2 weeks and
sure.
so. Okay, I was just checking on that, so.
Can we do that whether we did or didn't receive that? That way we know in case we did.
I think we can do it pretty simply a little bit, so. Ms. Rudd? Okay. Mr. Mitt?
Today was a hard day. Hard weekend, hard day. I've been doing stuff like this for a while, and one of the things, I was told, but I learned over time, was some days, some evenings, you make the best, worst decision you can. And you wake up and you got to deal with that, and you live with it, and you move forward, and you continue to do the best you can with the best, worst decision and situation you got. And you live with that, and you move forward, and you go and do the work that's in front of you. And you learn how to sleep well at night doing that. And today was a hard day. But looking at the entire room, I got to tell you, whether it's my place or not, I'm proud of everybody here. Tonight could have gone sideways, it could have gone south, but it didn't. Everybody's collective discipline, flexibility, professionalism, and just really honor as a city reflects. And I appreciate that, because regardless of how anybody feels sitting here this evening, when we've been able to at least check ourselves, work as a team, maybe just kind of evaluate, but be good, professional citizens that really look after the city where they live. And it's a testament of who you are, and it's a testament of this great little city, and I really appreciate you for doing that. Couple of things that kind of that went on. I'm going to talk about Public Works real quick, because he's not here. And you can kind of tell, I talked to the team and I asked them to give just a brief synopsis on kind of some of the things they've been working on, because even when they're with them, I don't see what they're working on. A lot of the work they do is just kind of non-tactile work, right? But some of it is tactile work. Now, I'll give you an example. Some of it is not pretty. Somebody once upon a time put goldfish out in our retention pond by the walking trail. 2 or 3 goldfish. Goldfish do what they do. They make little goldfish, and our teammates had to go out and scoop up probably 5,000 or 6,000 dead, not little goldfish, but these goldfish get big. So there was probably the better part of 2,000 or 3,000 pounds of dead goldfish that were large goldfish like koi. And your teammates, your citizens and your public employees had to go out, public works employees had to go out and fish them out by hand and get them out because one, it was the right thing to do. But two, it wasn't reflecting well on our city, so we got that taken care of. I think everybody's gonna be happy to know this, again, a non-tactile thing, but good hard work by people from the city here. Some work that was done yesterday, but kind of came through the last couple of days. We've been conditionally approved for about $2.9 million specifically set aside as we go forward for water metering devices, residential and commercial, to blanket cover the entire city. We're conditionally approved for that, pending like one more piece of information, and Ms. Liliana Rivera is on that. So in the future, you can look forward to not water gauged by how much is or isn't in the tank based on how much we're pumping and using, which is constant up and down, but we'll have a real-time, real assessment of how much water is being used and how much water is available at any one time. So I think that's on its way, and that's a great news story. I'm so sad that Mr. Jake Lopez isn't here, because happy to report the shredder is working fine. It's working great. The roll-off truck that Public Works needs will be here on the 8th approximately. So it's in Albuquerque now, I think, getting set up, and it'll be shipped to us. So we should put that question to bed, at least temporarily, until the thing breaks. Water Department has a rough order of magnitude cost estimate for completing the, Mr. Bradley's not here anymore, but completing the headworks or refitting the headworks on the wastewater treatment plant. So we believe we have a workable number for that to fix the main items that cause the wastewater treatment plant to be less than as effective as it should be. Team has mentioned a little bit about this, but websites are being updated if you haven't seen that, and updates to municipal codes and municipal code cleanup is coming. You may have seen some social media posts. Lots of social media posts out this week, but you may have seen some about straightening up signs in Portales. That's working. People are sending pictures of signs, and the Public Works Department is going out and straightening up the signs and replacing them. So that's kind of a fun project, and it's having a very positive effect. We appreciate that. There was also a net cast out for photographs to update our website. We have a lot of beautiful photos coming in, so that's happening, and that's really cool too. From the Public Works Department, who isn't here, I just wanted to touch base. A couple of weeks ago, I asked you, everybody really, to be recruiters of your own city and whatnot. So 2 weeks ago, Public Works had 12 vacancies. As of today, they're looking at 6 vacancies. So they believe they have 6 people either on board or onboarding. That's great work. It's hard. It's hard to find employees. It's hard to find quality employees. But it's happening. I appreciate you and I applaud you for helping out with that. Signs are being created or crafted for the cemetery, the sections in the cemetery, and within the cemetery, the well house is soon being prepped for pennant. And there's a lot of other good stuff that Public Works has been doing, but we've been here till almost 8 o'clock at night, so I'll save that to the next meeting. Subject to your questions. My pleasure.
Yeah, that was quite a few fish that were gathered up out there. So
It
appreciate everybody's work on getting that out of there.
It was not, it wasn't nice, yeah.
Well, Mr. Rackner, I'll start with
I'm
you.
good tonight.
You didn't bring any pictures of Greece you want to show us or no? Okay. Sparker,
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Lopez brought this up several weeks ago. Those trees died out there by the static at 111 display. There's some way we can get those things.
There is some way. I don't know if they got to those yet. I know they started on the other side of town, so we removed some dead trees.
Noticed that they pulled a couple of trees out here on Highway 70. It's good to start getting those out. And then the other thing that I kind of wanted to bring up is something that's been a concern of mine for quite some time. Our main drainage goes down 18th Street. And whenever we have a torrential rain and that thing floods, I would like to see us implement some kind of a barricade where we block off that city till that water gets receded, because I've actually got a house listed over there that during our 6-inch torrential rain that we had several years ago, the house was fine until people started going down that street. And the waves that they create is what caused it to flood their house. And we don't need that to happen. So if there's some way that we can just make a note that whenever we get a rain like that, and that street's flooded, if we could just barricade that, make them go another route, go up 17th Street or 16th Street or somewhere further up to get through.
Noted.
I would like to see that.
We've actually done that in the past. We had it.
I know we've done it a few times, but it hadn't been something that's been
Not
consistent, so.
Yeah, it was pretty regular there for a while. Haven't had it.
That's all.
Okay. I'll come to you in a minute. Mr. Davis?
I had a couple of things for Steve, but I'll text or email him. Things on Main Street. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Roger?
I give him just a bit on one for that.
Okay. It's sort of.
I just want to say thank you to all the employees for all your hard work. I do know that, I had to place some time on unscheduled on some calendars today, and I appreciate the time and you listening to my concerns. And we just appreciate everything that everybody's doing. That's all.
I would like to echo what Mitchell said. I kind of stole some of my
That's my job.
comment. I appreciate it when you do that. No, I'm very thankful that of the decorum this evening, because we were kind of anticipating that it could get maybe a little rambunctious, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the civility and the decorum this evening and the understanding. And then we're going to work on that, which I'll just remind Ms. Rudd to get this group together, begin working on how we're going to handle this moving forward through the remainder and in the future. With regard to that public comment and those sorts of things, and hopefully we can have something available at the next meeting to present. So thank you for that. Let's see. We do need to decide who is going to be our voting member from those that are attending from the council. To the municipalities is a volunteer. It's Thursday afternoon. You can't skip off and go play golf Thursday afternoon.
I don't mind doing it. But if anybody that's going to be there wants to do it, that hasn't had an opportunity to do that, I've served on that. As that delegate before, I know Miss Parker has as well. So if anybody's there that wants to do it, they're more than welcome, but if nobody wants to, I will volunteer.
Would you like an alternate just in case?
Yes.
You get a.
Just in case I get it, get a tea time headache or something.
Anybody want to volunteer? No? Okay, so if the league asks, we will submit Ms. Cordova as the voting member and Mr. Merrick as the alternate, so.
And I will check and I will see.
That's all I have. So our next item is executive session to discuss matters as provided for under New Mexico statutes, section 10-15-1, paragraph H, number 7, relating to meetings subject to attorney-client privilege. I'd like to take a motion to convene into that executive session. Sorry. Motion by Mr. Merrick. Ms. Swoops, call the roll, please.
Yes, sir. Veronica Cordova,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Merrick,
Yes.
Ms. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Rackler,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
and Mr. Self.
Step down.
But that's what
We-
you said. Okay, we will now enter into executive session. Hopefully, public, we won't be. Okay, can I get a motion to return to regular session?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Cordova, that we return to regular session. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion carries. I want to make a statement that only those items discussed in the motion to go into executive session were discussed. and we have one item of action.
I'd like to make a motion that Mrs. Rudd to be able to enter the city of Portales into the Purdue Pharma opioid settlement.
So. Okay, did you get that?
Who said second?
Robinson.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Okay. Everybody understand the motion? Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries, and we're adjourned.